Tonight, tertiary students face money laundering charges. Lodala Bay accident lands elderly man and court. And association clears the air on audit findings. Very good evening. 2 tertiary students appeared in the Suva Magistrates Court today, charged with 5 to 10 accounts of money laundering. It's alleged that sometime between Christmas and New Year last year, the two hacked into a bank account and transferred a total of $24,000 from 2 separate accounts. The matter was only found out after the complainants turned up at the police cybercrime unit. Apisalame Rambo with the details.
Accounting students Rajnil Vishal Chaudhry and Manjit Singh appeared in court today for allegations of money laundering. It is alleged that the two individuals took $24,000 out of 2 private accounts. The pair are alleged to have used social engineering techniques on social networks by getting personal details such as phone numbers. The court heard that the two then allegedly used these details to open similar accounts now is fully accessible by them. The court also heard that they targeted internet banking for this by exploiting the banking system. The court also heard how the two started their scam with small amounts from $10 to $20. Defense counsel Asiri Vagaloloma appeared for Rajnil Chaudhry asking for bail, saying he was a first offender and needed to attend classes at university. The pair now remain in police custody until the 6th of February for bail ruling. Apisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
An 83-year-old man appeared in court this afternoon facing charges related to an accident at Lodala Bay at the weekend. William Walsh Apted was charged with 1 count of causing death by dangerous driving and 3 counts of causing grievous bodily harm. No plea was made. Apted was bailed for $1,000 with surety. He was also told to surrender all travel documents. Divisional Prosecution Officer Muhammad Yunus made an application in court for a temporary removal of his driving license, citing his health and age. However, this was refused by the court. The case has been adjourned to March the 4th. Fijians living in Australia will now be able to vote in this year's elections. 5 registration teams from the Elections Office will be travelling to Australia to register potential voters. This process gets underway from the 14th to the 22nd of this month at multiple locations across New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland. That includes Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne and Brisbane. Attorney General and Minister responsible for elections, Ayasai Qayyum, said this approach is in line with the government's goal of ensuring free and fair elections. Chairman of the Electoral Commission, Chen Ban Yang, said Fijians in Australia should take advantage of this opportunity. He said this was their chance to ensure their voices are heard in this year's elections. Potential voters over 18 are urged to produce a valid Fijian passport. The Commission will work closely with the Permanent Secretary responsible for elections and the Fiji High Commission to oversee this important undertaking. The Reserve Bank of Fiji clarified that construction work on their building facade will continue, but the RBF also confirms that there are OHS issues with regard to the installation, use and removal of the scaffolding, which the contractor Jaduram Industries Limited has yet to comply with fully. RBF Governor Barry Whiteside says that as a responsible corporate citizen, they have been working closely with all the proper regulatory authorities, including the inspectors from the Ministry of Labour, to ensure compliance with laws and regulations of the country. The RBF is now working with its appointed project architects, Architects Pacific, who are currently working with the contractor to ensure compliance. Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade is still working out its staffing profile following its integration with the former AUSAID. In response to Fiji One News queries about redundancy offers made to local staff, a DFAT spokesperson said several options were being considered. The spokesperson said, quote, "While the department will continue to look for savings across all business areas, it is unlikely to meet these challenges by natural attrition alone," unquote. For now, DFAT is managing job losses through normal means like retirement and resignation. Other options include voluntary redundancies and redeployment of staff. The spokesperson says this applies to department staff in Australia and at overseas missions. That includes local staff engaged at overseas missions. The Rarawai and Penang Cane Producers Association says there is nothing wrong with the SNAP audit conducted by FlowCert, a UK-based audit company commissioned by Tate & Lyle. While the association has been given until the 16th of this month to come up with measures to address the shortfalls identified, work is already taking place to ensure this is done. Bulletin reports.
This FlowCert audit report cited by Fiji One News clearly states areas of non-conformities exposed by the audit team. This has prompted government and sugar industry to lobby with its buyers, Tate & Lyle, to investigate these problems. But the president of the association says otherwise.
We in fair trade, we are guided by the fair trade standards, the rules. And in the fair trade language, we call them standards. We are also guided by the Constitution. And to check if a producer organization is following the standards, there is normally an audit.
Singh says while there has been a lot of bickering by farmers and this has reached authorities over the past few months, he argues that the association has always conducted its operations as stipulated in its constitution, adding they are now trying to correct mistakes of the past and move forward.
Of the association, I don't decide. It's the people who decide. We believe in complete democracy. All our decisions come from the ground level. When I say ground level, it's the gang level, the farmer level.
On allegations of misuse of funds, nepotism, and non-adherence to constitution bylaws, which included elections and membership processes, this is what he had to say.
It's about documentation, proofs in writing. So these are baseless allegations raised by people who have something personal against either me as a president or our organization.
The remedial action report from the association, with the approval of the General Assembly, is expected to be forwarded to FlowCert in the coming days for approval before the process is to be stringently followed. Not complying with the requirements of the report will mean a stop in the disbursement of funds to assist the 6,000 plus farmers in the association. Bulletin, Fiji One News.
Still to come, addressing water safety academically. And Langi Langi hailed as a model housing project. Hello again. The Fiji National University is now serious about developing a new curriculum on water safety. As we mentioned yesterday, the FNU is working closely with two renowned international swimming coaches to make this possible. Our West reporter Madhyam Bolaitamana caught up with a pair in Nandi.
Swimming and water safety is synonymous with their names and the work they do. So when they were engaged by one of Fiji's top universities to develop a swim and water safety curriculum for student teachers, Milton Nelms and Shane Gold could not resist a temptation to be part of the program.
We're hoping to develop a curriculum. I have a body of information about swimming that's used in many different forms around the world, different countries. So these would be swimming clubs or learn to swim organizations. And I'm working with an organization in Fiji that's doing research on these matters.
Renowned the world over for coaching champion Australian swimmer Ian Thorpe at his peak, Nelms and his champion Olympic gold medal winning wife has also been helping out at top local resorts conducting water safety programs for lifeguards and activities personnel.
Something that's happening worldwide is that the drowning rate is going up everywhere, and Fiji is no different than other places. But the thing that's interesting about Fiji is that, in our experience, the people in the country are fantastic swimmers.
Yesterday, the couple took their first batch of student teachers from the FNU's Lautoka Teachers College on a basic water safety exercise, which they hope to develop into a curriculum at the university as a tool for spreading the idea to the grassroots. For Gold, the message of water safety must then always be the core if when engaging in water activities for all.
Children have accidents in the water if they're not supervised. So in Australia we have this thing You must be within arm's reach of your child when they're around the water, okay? Up till they're 5, okay?
The hope here is taking the fundamentals of water safety practices to the grassroots and how this will positively affect the concerned numbers of drowning cases in Fiji. Bulletin, Fiji One News.
2 new judges from Sri Lanka were sworn in at Government House yesterday. Justice Suhara Gamlat and Justice D. Almeida Gunaratne are here on a 3-year term for the Fiji Court of Appeal. The judges were welcomed by the President Ratuepeli Nailatikau. They took the oath of office in the presence of the Chief Justice Anthony Gates and other members of the judiciary. The new Langilangi housing settlement could soon become a model for other urban settlements around the country. Developed through a unique partnership with government, those behind the initiative say this project will soon help make housing more affordable for those in genuine need. Ravai Fafa'o reports.
Since November, 37 families have moved into these new flats, which is all part of the Langilangi housing project at G2 Estate. The People's Community Network says these families are enjoying their new homes.
These 32 families are the first ones to move in, and they've been overjoyed to come to a new house.
Out of the 37 flats, 5 are used by the elderly and those living with disabilities. There's 37 current residents all pay less than $50 per week for the 3 and 2 bedroom apartments. It's all part of government's vision of providing affordable housing.
We're very happy that last year the Prime Minister and the Minister opened the first stage of the Langilangi housing project, and we are able to house 32 families, people who've been living there previously, and our criteria were fairly strict. You must be living there before, you must not have a house elsewhere, and you mustn't be earning above $15,000 a year.
However, there are conditions which these residents have to adhere to.
We hope that if people have a house elsewhere, they'll move to that. Or if people have an income that's beyond $15,000, they might apply for housing through the Housing Authority or Public Rental Board, because we're really trying to house those in lower incomes and those who are poor and disadvantaged.
Tasked by the state with finding decent and affordable housing for those that live in informal settlements, PCN hopes such projects will address this particular housing issue.
32 families are the first ones to move in, and they've been overjoyed to come to a new house. But more is going to be built. The whole Langilangi project involves about 152 houses. So really only 32 so far have been built. We're just waiting for Fortec to start again. On the next stage, government has released money for the project.
Since moving into their new homes, residents have been making their payments on time. Reviver for O, Fiji One News.
Since hitting the market late last year, the country's first male sports calendar hasn't quite lived up to expectations. Those behind the calendar were anticipating $20,000 from selling 1,000 copies. But so far, the Gods of Sport calendar has just hit the $5,000 mark last month. That figure is expected to increase after the final review of sales later this week.
So we'll have to wait for both companies to reconcile the sales of the calendars and then come back to us. When that happens, we'll also have to reconcile our books and then ascertain exactly how much we will be giving to Loloma Home.
Calendars will be sold at a cheaper price. Most of the proceeds will go to the Loloma Home. Initially, the Gods of Sport Fiji calendar received negative response from the public due to its contents. However, Dharma adds this has been a learning curve and will be taken into account in future projects.
We've had to take other people's views into consideration. The Fijian market is still very extremely conservative, unlike the rest of the world, which is it's not something bad. We just go at our own pacing, which is something that we've had to consider.
The Health Ministry received a timely donation this afternoon. The equipment is earmarked for the maternity ward at Colonial War Memorial Hospital. The Hibiscus Event Group and Carpenters Group today donated a CTG machine to the ministry. The cost of the cardiotocograph machine is pegged at around $27,000. Health Minister Dr. Neil Sharma says this will make a huge difference to the quality of life for babies delivered at the hospital.
What it does is in pregnancy, these machines, when it's hooked on, it measures the strength of the uterine contraction. And it also, the other transducer, picks up the baby's heart rate. And we interpret the pressure with the heart rate, and it gives us an idea whether the baby is happy and comfortable or unwell or needs to be taken out of the uterus, sometimes prematurely. We are always happy to oblige. This donation that Carmen is giving is the efforts of the whole group in raising funds for Hibiscus Charity, and it's indeed a pleasure to hand over this money to the Hibiscus Committee for them to purchase this wonderful machine.
Staff of the Agriculture Ministry have been told to pull up their socks and adapt to the changes in the working environment. Agriculture Minister Lieutenant Colonel Ines Ratu, while speaking to his staff in Osori yesterday, says he expects better performance from ministry staff. Reflecting on the success of 2013, he adds that this year will be even more challenging.
Although we have not realized the full potentials of agriculture in as far as economic growth is concerned. At some stage we were doing well, and then due to some reasons our performance probably had dropped to low levels, but it's never too late to pick it up again.
The ministry has started reviewing some of its outdated legislations. It will also visit the Western and Northern divisions to set out plans for the year.
Policies will dictate strategy. We deal with policies first, and then we can fix strategies. And that is something that we in the management. We have some structural and organizational issues as well. Our structure needs to be relooked at. And we will look at that seriously for 2014.
For the first time ever, the University of the South Pacific is now offering vocational courses. This is part of all the regional institutions' strategic plan. Director for the Center for Vocational and Continuing Education, Hasmukh Lal, says the programs are competency-based and contains industry input.
Two professional programs, and this program targets the students, the people who are already in the workforce, and they want to upskill their professional qualification or competence. And the two programs are Professional Diploma in Business Management and Certificate in Project Management.
6 programs have been approved by the university's Senate. Plans are in the pipeline to venture into other programs as well. However, that will depend on the demand from our regional neighbors.
For the vocational programs, our target students are the students who have passed Form 6 successfully. We have got a lot of students who have scored less than 200, but they have passed Form 6 successfully. They are enrolling in our program. Also, those students who are already in the workforce, they are the ones also enrolling in our program. So we have got the dual sector enrollment.
Our Pacific News segment is up next. Stay with us. A hooning episode in Nauru last Friday has landed a Salvation Army worker in hot water. Back News reports that Adam Savage is now facing charges of driving onto the Nauru airport runway and doing donuts. All this happened half an hour before a plane landed. And here's a picture just to give you a fair idea of what exactly doing donuts is. Police are trying to establish whether Savage had consumed alcohol before the incident. A high-profile Australian lawyer, Jay Williams, was a passenger in the back seat. According to Back News, Williams tried to stop the driver from driving onto the runway. Salvation Army only confirmed that one of its staff was involved in the incident. Now remember, you can view tonight's Fiji One News Bulletin on our website at www.fijione.tv. You can also watch previous news bulletins as well as our current affairs, business and sports shows. You can now also get news headlines directly to your mobile phones. To subscribe, just text SUB space FTV News to 777 and you can get your news and sports headlines via SMS. Charges now apply, but you can view our terms and conditions on our website. In business news tonight, Sandalwood Development Limited's license to operate as a foreign exchange money changer has been revoked. The Reserve Bank of Fiji says this is effective immediately. In a statement, the central bank says the company has been a licensed money changer since 1998. Governor Barry Whiteside said the company's non-compliance to its license conditions and the requirements of the Exchange Control Act led to the revocation. Sandalwood Development Limited is no longer permitted to act as an authorized money changer. The RBF says it's an offence to deal or exchange foreign currency without a license. We go to sports now with Drew, and brand new set of jerseys for the Fiji Sevens team.
Yes, Vili, they'll be flashing those this weekend with their new sponsors. That's coming up. Also in sports, IRB reconsiders Fiji hosting a series tournament. And Sevens boys final strength training.